The sun has left and forgotten me. It's dark, I cannot see.
Your stories don't define you, but how you tell them will. Hi, I'm Sarah Elkins, your host and chief story maker at Elkins Consulting. After more than 430 episodes of this podcast, I was recently inspired to change the format of the show. The new format aligns with what I'm learning about narrative identity, how the stories we tell about ourselves internally and externally influence the core part of who we are. And this new structure will demonstrate what I've been teaching for years, sharing a story to reveal who you are and what matters to you. My hope is that future episodes will offer more clarity about great storytelling and how to find and explore pivotal moments in your life to demonstrate who you are. My future guests will be given a story prompt ahead of our call, and instead of a long, organic, multi-insight conversation, we'll dive more deeply into a single story, pulling a thread and revealing a couple of primary insights about the experience, and leaving space for you, our listeners, to remember your own related experience, to help you pull a thread that has the potential to guide you in self-reflection to understand how that story shapes who you are. I'll be eager to hear your thoughts about this new format, so don't hesitate to send me a message via social media or email. In today's episode, I'm sharing a story about a pivotal moment in my life, an experience that shifted how I think about grief and inspired me to be more compassionate towards strangers. It was February 2014, and I was in Wilmington, Delaware for my father's funeral. My family is very close. Despite my parents' divorce years before, many of my cousins on my mother's side attended. We spent 5 days together, crying, laughing, eating, celebrating my father's life, and sharing our grief. We went to a Saturday morning service at the synagogue my cousin attends, and partway through the service, feeling a need for some time alone, I excused myself and stepped outside. But just a few minutes later, I was joined by well-meaning family members coming to check on me. I tried to assure them I was okay, I was just getting some air, but they stayed with me despite my promise that I would come in soon. The next day, my brother, sister, cousin, and I all arrived at the airport and went our separate ways for our flights home to Colorado, California, London, and Montana. Within minutes of splitting up, I received text messages that my flights home had both been canceled and suggesting that I go to customer service to make alternate arrangements. I waited in line for what seemed like hours, and when I finally got to the one agent trying to manage so many frustrated travelers, I knew what she was going to say, and I'm a little embarrassed to admit that I lost my shit. Tears started to stream down my face, and the agent, seeing my emotional distress, started to apologize. Through the sniffles and attempts at control, I said, No, I'm sorry. I know this isn't your fault. You can't do anything about the storm that's coming and causing the flight cancellations. It's just that I just buried my father, and I want to go home to Montana and be comforted by my husband, my kids, and my dog. Her eyes teared up, and she handed me a standby boarding pass so I could go through security. She suggested that I get on the standby list for any flight getting out of Philadelphia and find connecting flights from there. Otherwise, I could be stuck for at least 3 days based on the forecast for the incoming storm. Gathering my bags and wiping my eyes, I headed through security and did as she suggested. A few hours later, I knew it was hopeless. I managed to get a seat on a flight the next morning, but with no guarantees it would actually leave as planned. I sat down and sobbed. Somehow I was getting myself together and noticed a woman looking at me. She stood up from across the aisle and walked over. Stopping in front of my seat, she said, "I can see that you're struggling, and if you'd rather I walk away, just say so. It's just that it looks like you could use a hug, and I'm a hugger. I almost said no, but something about her made me think if I did, she'd never offer to another person again. It was almost as if she was the one who needed a hug. So I stood. She embraced me, and I cried. I guess I needed her hug after all. She held me for a few minutes until my breathing evened out, and I thanked her as we parted. I was actually able to function after that. I texted my family to let them know the situation. My siblings and cousin all made it out of town. I was the only one stranded. I called my husband and told him what was happening, and he said to hold tight, that he'd book a hotel room for me and call me back. I did make it home the next night after traveling all day, missing a connecting flight, and getting the last seat on the last flight of the day into my little Montana city. The experience changed me. For one thing, I learned that people grieve in really different ways, that some crave community and some crave solitude. Some people find great comfort in support groups with others who are going through or have been through a similar situation, while others prefer to grieve with people completely unrelated, people who aren't experiencing active grief. And I became a person like the woman who hugged me. In the past, I had been tempted to reach out, but almost always decided against it for one reason or another. But now, I offer. I ask permission. I stop to listen, and when it's accepted, I hug. Just a few months ago, I saw a young woman sitting on a bench, quietly crying and trying to wipe away her tears. I asked if she was okay, and she said yes. And I answered, "All right. Is it okay if I just sit here with you for a moment?" After just a couple of minutes, she started talking. She told me what was going on. She allowed me to hold space for her for just a little while. I was there to provide comfort for her, and for many others over the years, because of that one pivotal moment, that beautiful moment of human connection at the airport. Listeners, now it's your turn. Did my story remind you of something that happened to you? Did a memory pop into your head when you heard me sharing it? What did you learn about the characters in my stories? What's your related pivotal moment? Jot down some notes for yourself so you remember details, and then you'll be ready when an opportunity presents itself to share your story. Thanks for listening to Your Stories Don't Define You, How You Tell Them Will. If you're curious to learn about working with me, please visit my website, elkinsconsulting.com, and schedule time to chat. Sign up for periodic updates about my work, and connect with me to learn more about what I do by Instagram, LinkedIn, and Facebook.
You'll find that life is still worthwhile if you just smile.